So now we're going to be learning about conditional formatting. And conditional formatting is a very powerful functionality in Excel. Imagine that you want to identify people that scored maybe above 70, or you want to identify people that scored within a given score range. You can easily do this using the conditional formatting. So to go ahead with conditional formatting, all you need to do is to select the data upon which you want to apply conditional formatting. So I'm going to be selecting this data. Then the next thing I'm going to do is, if you look towards the right side of this home ribbon, you can see conditional formatting. So I'm going to click on this drop down, and here are the options that we'll have. We'll have highlight cell rows, we'll have top bottom rows, we'll have data bars, we'll have color scales and icon sets. Well, let's start with the highlight cell rows, and for this I'm going to be selecting greater than. Imagine that we want to style people that scored above a given score separately. We can easily do this using the greater than. So what I need to identify is, what score do I want to identify people that scored more than? Okay, so let me change this to 70. So what this is going to do is that it's going to identify scores above 70. Then the next thing to do is to select how I want to style those cells. And currently it is at light red fill with dark red text. But I have option of choosing other things. I can click here. Here you can see red text. So let me click on the red text and click OK. So now all the text in red are above 70. Okay, let's say we want to identify people that scored maybe below 40. So let me go ahead and undo these changes and then go back to the conditional formatting. And here I'm going to be using less than. So for the value, I'm going to change this to 40. So want to identify scores below 40. And so far it's only one cell, which is 39. Okay. Then we can choose the style. So let's say we want it to have red border. So I can click on the red border and it's going to apply a red border on that cell. Then I'll go ahead and click OK. Okay, let's undo again. Then the next one again is we'll have between. We want to identify people that scored maybe between 50 and 80. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and here I'm going to be providing the range of scores. So I'm going to put 50 here, and then the next one I'm going to put 50 and 80. Then I'll select the formatting, how I want it to be styled. So let's go for red text and then click OK. So now Excel has conditionally formatted these values based on values between 50 and 80. So let's go ahead and explore other options there. So for this one, we'll have equal to. Maybe you want to identify scores that are equal to a given value. Let's identify for 60 and click OK. So now let's go back to the conditional formatting again. This time around, I want to identify values that are equal to a given value. But before I do this, I'm going to undo the changes. So let me go ahead and do Ctrl Z and then go back to conditional formatting. Then I'll choose equal to. So let's put 65 there. Only one value is 65. Okay. Then the next one is we'll have text contains. Okay. So let's go ahead and select all the data. So I'm going to be selecting the entire data set. Then I'll go over to the conditional formatting again, and here I'm going to choose text contains. So let me put DAN. So we'll have Danjuma there. So it has identified that cell for us. Then I cancel it, and then we'll look at another option in the highlight cell values. We'll have date occurring, we'll have duplicate values. Here you want to identify if there are duplicate values in your selected data. So let me go ahead and click this one. For instance, if you look at the formatting here, you can see we'll have 85 here, and somewhere there will be another 85. So here's another 85, we'll have 88. So all the selected cells are duplicated in one way or the other. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead again. So I'll go to conditional formatting. Here we'll have the top bottom rows. If I want to get the top 10 scores, I can go for this one. This is going to give me the top 10. Then this one is the top 10%. So let's go for the top 10. These are the top 10. Let's find out the top 10%. The top 10% should be this one. So these are the top 10%. Okay, then we'll have another one. We have the bottom 10, we'll have the bottom 10%, we'll have above average. So let's say we want to identify scores above average. I can choose this option. So these are the scores above the average. Then another option again is the option for below average. You want to find out people that scored below average. So this is going to give you the below average. Then again, let's go back again to this again. Let's go for the top 10 items. And here we're going to be choosing how we want the cells to be formatted. And we'll have another option here, which is custom formats. Here you specify how you want the cells to be formatted. If I want them to be bold, I can choose this font style as bold and then click OK. So now you can see that those texts have been boldened. And I'll go ahead and click OK. So let's go ahead and undo this and explore other options in conditional formatting. So I'm going to click here. We'll have another option, which is the data bars. And let's take a look at how it looks like. So for this one, we'll have the gradient fields, and you can see how the bars are around the cells. So the bars are arranged based on the values contained in the cell. For instance, you can see 94. 94 is almost very close to the end of the cell or the end of the row. And that is because it has a high value. But if you look at those lower value scores, you can see that they are closer to the left side of the cell. And we'll have this other one. These are the various colors you can choose from. Then we'll have the solid fill. We'll have this other one. This one is yellowish in color. We'll have this other one. Then we'll have the color scales. These are also another ways of applying conditional formatting on your cells. And we'll have icon sets. So let's choose the first one here. And if you noticed, the top scores have this up arrow, while the average scores are having these horizontal arrows. And then while the least scores are having the downward arrow. So this is also another way of applying conditional formatting in your data. So conditional formatting is actually a very powerful thing you can do with Excel. And I encourage you to take your time to understand how to conditionally format your values. There are times when you need them, especially when you want to identify values within a given condition. For instance, if you're a teacher and you want to identify people that failed your subject, you can apply conditional formatting on the scores and it will easily identify those students for you. Or maybe you want to identify maybe the top 10 performing students in your class. You can easily do that using conditional formatting. In marketing scenario, maybe in sales, you want to see the top performing salespeople. You can use conditional formatting to easily identify your top performing salespeople. So conditional formatting is quite cool and is something that you'll be needing a lot of times.